Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today. We're going to be making this lovely, really simple card. Okay, doesn't take very long to make at all. And we're going to be using Butterfly Brilliance and the coordinating dies called Brilliant Wings. Okay, so this die set actually has 2 sheets in it. So we've got the detailed dies that we're using today, but we've also got a larger one that cuts out the individual butterflies from the stamp and a few other little bits and pieces in there too. Alright, so those are the dies. Okay, the Butterfly Brilliant stamp set is actually a single stamp. It's a background stamp, which I'll bring in to show you in a moment. So it is a large sort of background style stamp really. You can use the F block to stamp that, but I actually find it more convenient to use the Stamparatus. You'll see that in a second. And then because there's no sentiments, I thought I'd use this set called Inspired Thoughts. So there's something for everything on this set. Even a bit of Christmas as well. Alright, so that's what we are doing. This particular example I went with almost like a vintage vibe. We've got a crumb cake card base and we've got Very Vanilla layered with early espresso. The stamping over the top is Sahara Sand, and then I've used the early espresso in the sentiment and the die cut there just to sort of tie the design together. So as per usual Verity style, we're going to do a different colourway. We're still going to go with a sort of monochromatic look though. We're going to go with greys, and I'm going to switch out the sentiment for a sympathy sentiment, and I think that will look really, really elegant, although we don't want to be sending those kinds of cards. I think that would be nice. So the base is Smoky Slate, okay, and then I've cut some layers from basic grey and basic white. So the basic grey is 3 5/8 across, 5 3/8 tall, and then the layer is 1/8 smaller at 3 1/2 wide and 4 1/4 high. Now I always do portrait cards. I just like portrait cards, but this layout would work just as well in a landscape fashion as well. Alright, so those 2 layers we'll put to one side because we need to stamp on this bit, and this is just a little scrap that's 3/4 of an inch wide for the sentiments. And I've also got a scrap of grey to do my die cutting with later. Okay, so those are those bits. So as I was saying, the large butterfly stamp, you can stamp by hand, but I find it far easier to use the Stamparatus tool. Okay, so I've got it here set up. It's a cling stamp, so I've taken out the foam insert. So I've just got the base there, but I've just laid over some of the small grid paper just to protect it, because we're going to be stamping over the edge, as you can see there. So that's already in place from when I stamped my original image. Alright, so I'm going to just put that down, and it's not desperately important that this is straight. The butterflies are all wonky and donkey, so it's not going to matter too much if there are butterflies sort of a little bit on the wonk, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to put a stamp case under there because that helps keep that steady while you're inking it up. So just just as I did in the original sample, I've used 3 shades of brown. I'm going to bring in the grey granite for the background stamping, just to bring in that additional tone. So we're going to get that nice and well inked, go over it a couple of times in our grey granite ink. Just lots of light tapping, which you can probably hear me doing over the thing. Okay, but we want to make sure that that is really well covered. Okay, pop that away. Then we're going to bring it across to our paper, and sometimes applying the pressure on this can be a little difficult for people with dexterity problems. So if you just close it over and then use some kind of soft cloth to help you rub over. Standing up as well will help you apply more pressure to the stamp. Okay, so just making sure we press all over that, particularly in the middle. Okay, so we get hopefully a really good impression. So this is one scenario where you probably only have one chance at stamping this well, because there's nowhere to place the magnet and keep it in place. Okay, so just bear that in mind if you are stamping on a smaller piece of cardstock. So hopefully that's come out beautifully, and it has. Okay, so there we go, that's our stamped background. So we can put away our stamp apparatus to one side. I will clean that stamp off later, don't worry, I'm not going to put it away dirty. Okay, so that's our background. So we just need to layer these up really nice and simple with our seal adhesive, which I totally love because it's so fast and easy. So we'll just get those borders lined up on there, like so. And that can go straight onto a card base because we're not doing any stamping or raising it up on dimensionals. We're just going to put it straight onto the card. So again, some more seal on there. And we'll get that added on. Again, just looking for your equal borders. Get those straight, and then the top hopefully sorts itself out. Give that a nice firm press. Make sure your top fold is nice and crisp so that it stands up. So that's our card base done, quick as a flash. And in actual fact, you know, you could very much leave it like that. We could stamp a sentiment straight on over the top in black or something like that. You could colour over this, add some Wink of Stella. There's all sorts of things you can do with that basic background. All right, we need our butterfly die cut, so I'm just going to take this lovely detailed die. Now I've picked this one in particular, I just liked the size and shape of it, but as you saw in the die set there are a number of different dies that you could use and modify the design accordingly. So if you're doing a landscape version, you might find that one of the larger images fits a little better. Just going to bring in my foam and my take your pick die brush. Lift away our die. Okay, so that's come away clean, there's no need to poke away at that. And then we're going to just carefully take that out. We don't want to catch his antennae. Okay, just going to scrape those little bits off my die cut plate, and then the die brush will help us just to free up those little pieces. Just go over it a couple of times, up, down, left, right, shake it all out. Just be careful of those antennae. Okay, and the smaller parts just might take a little bit more rubbing. Okay, and don't forget that any really stubborn bits we can just pull out with our pokey tool, which is on the other end. So the brown one I did, once I'd rubbed over it a couple of times, it fell out really easily. The other thing you can try is seeing if they'll come out by rubbing on the back rather than on the front, so that's another thing. So that's just hanging on for dear life, isn't it? Look. Okay, so that's that, got them all? Yep. Isn't it lovely? Really nice. And this, just if you just tap the side of your foam over your bin, it just falls off. Just a couple of taps, and clean. Okay, comes off really quick. Just popping that away because I don't like leaving things out. Okay, so we now have our base and our little decorative element there. We just need our sentiment. So my tip here is to always have a piece of scrap grid paper that you've got to hand to help you line up your stamps. So I've already used this to make sure the stamp is aligned on the block. and I use the grid paper to make sure that the cardstock I'm stamping on is straight, so I'm just lining it up with one of those lines there. Bring in our basic grey ink, some light tapping, and because I've already lined this up on the block, I'm going to also hopefully line this, hover over the top and get that straight as well. So I'm just looking for the edge of the block to be level with one of those lines. Okay, and then you'll get a straight, or near as straight sentiment, just like that. So that's that. I'm going to pull out my one of my banner punches. Let's use this one instead. I use the banner picker banners picker punch. That's what it's called. To do the other one. So because it's 3/4 of an inch, this punch will cut half, 3/4 and 1 inch strips with the decorative ends. So this one is the lovely labels picker punch, which we're going to do there. Okay, so that gives you a different look to your little banners, and that's going to be a bit long. Just wanted it to be long enough to make sure I had enough room for doing all the punching and stuff. Okay, that's going to go onto the card with some dimensional adhesive, and I've just got some little edge strips that have been left over there, so let's use those. They're perfect for that kind of thing. Take that off, and then we'll add that to our card. So I found this space was quite nice, and I like it to break the border. It's just a little thing. And then the butterfly I'm actually going to put on with a little bit of my multi-purpose glue. I'm going to put a generous amount on the back of the body of the butterfly there, because it's going to overhang this raised portion slightly. So I just want the glue to make contact with the base card. Okay, so that's going to take a minute to set properly, because it's only being held on by the body of the butterfly there. Okay, so you just might want to hold that in place so that it sticks exactly where you want it to stick, just for a couple of moments. The multi-purpose glue does start to set very quickly, and that's it. Very, very, very simple. All right, mix and match your sentiments, mix and match your colours. Okay, and there's loads and loads you can do with this very simple layout. I hope you've liked it and you'll give it a go. As always, all the links to the products I've used are going to be linked in the description bar below. Please do click on that, it takes you straight to the online shop. And thanks again for the support that you give me in the comments. If it's the first time you've stumbled across me, please do give me some thumbs up and a subscribe. I try and post at least 4 videos a week, so there's loads and loads for you to see, and I really appreciate it. Take care everybody, stay safe out there, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.